Hey folks, BC here, and today I'm going over how you shift your deuce and a half. So this will be So You Want to Own a Deuce and a Half, volume or part 6. I have made a handy dandy diagram of the shift pattern. And let me just go through it real quick. We got your verse up here, your first down here, your second, your third, neutral in the center of course. 5 is up here. Almost got screwed up there. Take your U-turn from 3 to 4, and then 5 up here. Story is 5 is up there just to get out of the way for everyone because the cabs are actually pretty tight in these things. Now I've color coded this. Reverse and first are red because they are unsynchronized gears. Now if you don't know what you're doing or you forget what you're doing, which I have on occasion, you will grind the bejesus out of these things. These things are unsynchronized, which means, well, if you're, say you're a professional truck driver, you probably know a lot more about that than I do. But as far as your normal average Joe like me, driving a deuce and a half, these things are kind of tough to deal with. Unless you follow just a few basic, rules. Number 1, never go into reverse or first when the truck is moving. Make sure you're at a complete stop, complete standstill, before you even attempt to go in there. Rule number 2, push your clutch in. Say you've been sitting at a stoplight, you've had it in neutral, sitting there forever for the stoplight to change. Before it actually goes green, kind of see the other, go ahead and push your clutch in, let your transmission spin down, because inside your transmission is still spinning when your clutch is out and you're in neutral. You want all that spinning down all the way stopped, so then you can put it into first, or again, you will be sitting there at the stoplight, you'll be neutral, it goes green, push the clutch in, you put it in first, again, you're grinding the bejesus out of that thing. So you want to push the clutch in, give it a good 5 count, a good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe slower than that actually. And throw it into first. Okay, so say you're a stoplight, push your clutch in, give it a good 5 count, throw it in first, and when I say throw, we're dealing with a truck here, this is not a sports car. You're going to be slowly shifting into these gears. You're not slamming anything around. So you're going to put it in first, let out the clutch, it's just like a normal car at that point. Now as far as this goes, I put a little spring here because there's actually a spring tension against moving everything over to this first section. And the reason is because they didn't want you to accidentally go into reverse or go into first when you meant to hit third. Because all kinds of hell would happen if you try to throw it into first while you're trying to go into third, which would be way too fast for first in the first place. And again, grinding like there's no tomorrow. So there's actually a resistance there to keep you from doing that by accident, which is cool. So you've bump started. Basically first is only there to kind of get you rolling. That's a 3 to 5 mile at best. And, just basically you don't want to wind out first or anything. That's just there to bump you off the starting line. Now every now and again someone will chime in and say, no, you can start out in second, it's cool, you don't need first unless you got a big load on your bed. And for every one person I hear of that, I hear 20 or 30 people going, no, 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 that's a horrible idea. You always want to use first because you're dealing with 124 horsepower when this thing was new. We're just no telling how much it has now, but it didn't grow horsepower overnight. So it's definitely at or below 124 horsepower. And you're dealing with 13,000 plus pounds. So everyone says, the vast majority say, use first no matter what, unless you're pointed downhill where once you put your clutch in, you automatically start rolling forward. Other than that scenario, use first. That's just there to get you bump started down the road. So you're at stoplight, you've bump started up to about 3 or 5 miles an hour. Throw it in second. Second's going to take you up to about like 6 to 10 miles an hour or so. Maybe 12 if you feel like you're going to wind it out and be fast and furious in a deuce. But second's also very, very short gear. At this point, you're still under the red light. You haven't made very much headway in this. So you wind out second, put about, I shift usually around 2,000 RPM. Some people wind it out further, some people short shift a little bit. It's up to you and your driving habits and style. Of course, you don't want a red line because that's, never good in any car, especially a deuce or any classic vehicle actually. Then you're going to throw it into third. Third gear is where that's where you make your money as far as getting up and going. There's a huge range difference, huge speed difference between the top end of second, top end of third. That's where you're really going to have to wind out third, and that'll give you some good speed going. Then you make your U-turn after you wind out third, hit about 2,000 RPM again. You make your U-turn over to the fourth. And there's also a big jump between third and fourth, so you're going to wind that out for a while, make some good speed, good headway, make your U-turn into fourth, do the same thing. The jump between second and third is almost exactly the same size as third to fourth. So you're going to make your speed here, you're going to make your speed here. And then once you wound out fourth in about 2,000, 2,200 RPM or so, throw it up into fifth, and that's your cruising speed. That'll get you up to about 45 miles an hour or so, 50, whatever you want to, whatever you're willing to drive it at, basically. So fifth gear, there's not a big difference in the range from fourth to fifth, but it is there, and that is where you're going to be doing most of your highway driving. So let's go look at the cab. Okay guys, I'm going to run through the gears real quick before we hit the road. And here we go, we're in neutral right now. I've just got the clutch already depressed. And we're going to run through them real quick. Here we go. First, up again, see how far that's actually a lot of spring tension right there. So, over to the left and down. That's your first gear. Second, third, neutral, over, fourth, and fifth. That's your cruising speed. Now let's hit the road.